We're here in the city streets of Azerbaijan. Welcome to Baku City here for round number 4 of the season of this F1 23 driver career mode, season 7, the final season, of course, of the career mode that we are doing before the release of F1 24. Hope you're all having a great day and ready for some street circuit action here, fresh off of one heck of a start to this season. We, of course, have had 2 back-to-back thirds to start the first 2 Grand Prix, and then we went into last episode and were able to back it up with a second place result in Belgium there. So very happy with how this season, of course, has been going. And we come into the streets of Baku where we've had up and down successes at this circuit, but hoping for another podium this weekend as we continue this just really impressive consistency with this brand new partnership with Audi. Now, of course, a really good start to the season for this Red Bull team. It is very evident, however, McLaren very quick. Charles Leclerc getting his first win with the McLaren team last episode. Both McLaren drivers have won. We've had 3 races, 3 different winners as well here. As practice, I was slipping and sliding a lot. The brakes were kind of sliding around a little bit here, and actually you're gonna see, yeah. I crashed him out. I locked the brakes up. Sorry. So we crashed the car in free practice 1, which of course is an early retirement. We still got an idea of where the car is and where it needs to be for this weekend here from Baku, so I'm not too concerned about that, but certainly not the ideal start to a weekend, to say the least here now, as we get ready to focus in on qualifying on Saturday afternoon. And fortunately, the team, of course, had plenty of time to get the car repaired. It happened in the first practice, so no concerns going into qualifying, of course, and this is a track that's kind of not been great for me in previous seasons for qualifying. It's hard to go against the AI here. Now, Bridgestone this weekend is using the same tire that we saw in France as well as last episode. However, it seems like tire wear going to be a little bit higher here, so a 2-stop strategy might be the optimal idea to go with, but we'll have to wait and see. Q1, it wasn't pretty. I was P14, but I also didn't put down the best lap I could. Tsunoda, Lawson, Maloney, Piastri, and unfortunately Schumacher at the bottom of the grid as we come through now into Q2. And to start my lap in Q2, actually getting stuck behind the Williams Audi of Frederick Vesti, so that completely ruined my lap. So we basically just had to settle in for a second lap. We only go P10, surprisingly, actually into Q3. I was very surprised to see that, but I wasn't confident that lap was going to stick. However, it was sticking now as we come through to the end of the lap, still P10, but we're going to better our position to P5, so we are able to get into Q3. Pretty happy with that. As you can see, Connor Sport, Jamie Chadwick, Jack Doohan out, and Oliver Behrman again out. That's going to be 2 Grand Prix in a row. He's out in the second session of qualifying. Not what you want to see there for the Trackhouse rookie as we focus in on Q3, and another mistake, same corner where we had to pass Vesti in the last one, so we end up only 10th place. So the goal, of course, is to make sure we get that corner right this time around here. And I lost a little bit of time early in the lap, but here's where we're going to gain it all back right there. Look at the ground. We just gained over half a second gain in one corner. So this is going to put us back into the potential to be in the top 5 here in qualifying. Now, as everybody's coming through this lap to put in one more quick lap, of course, of qualifying pace and see what they can do on the grid. Now, as we actually lose a little bit of time over the rest of this lap, it was 7/10 of an advantage, now down to 5.5, back up to 6, now back up to 7, just about. There we go. We'll go to the right side past Calimero, who's getting out of the way. DRS open, heading to the line. What is it going to be? 7.5 tenths gain, and that is going to put us on row number 2. 4th place, Dragovic 5th, Aiden Jackson, McLaren, Charles Leclerc 1-2 there. Calimero ends up in 3rd place. The Ferrari 6th and 9th, with Lando Norris again impressing in that Lamborghini. Let's head to the grid.
Good afternoon and welcome from Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. Let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Aiden Jackson yesterday, and it's put him on pole, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Mayer, Golden Boy, Drugovich, Albon, Norris, Gasly, Russell, Chadwick, Doohan, Behrman, Sato, Vesti, Liam Lawson, Maloney, Oscar Piastri, Yuri Vips, Mick Schumacher and Yuki Tsunoda. And now it's time to head down to the track.
A great start to the year, Gary. What do you need to win today?
Just a little bit more pace. I mean, we've been right there with McLaren, but we just need a bit more.
Good luck.
Ready to roll? And we're going with the alternate two-stop strategy. It's actually projected to be quicker today. So we're starting on hards and then going onto two sets of mediums, but nowhere to be seen is the soft tire. And you see very split strategies here. Now, some are going to go for a one-stop, some are going to go for a two-stop. We're really just going to have to wait and see and find out as we go.
Right then, the formation lap gets underway here on the streets of Baku. I suspect the drivers today will be very mindful of that narrow uphill section at the Old Town Wall. It requires pinpoint accuracy and perhaps more crucially, courage.
Thanks for the hard work, guys. Let's go win another one today.
Great start to the year, boys. Let's keep it up. It could get a bit chaotic here.
As the cars make their way back to the starting grid to form up and get ready for lights out, let's hope the race ahead today is a thrilling one that will go down as a memorable Grand Prix in the history books.
Be smart into the first few corners. You know everyone is going to be sending it.
Yeah, 10-4. I mean, if I've learned anything here in my years, you never know what's going to happen at this track. We're ready to go. We grid up here from Azerbaijan. The two BMWs line up the back of the grip. Yuri Vips starting down the order with a grid penalty. We'll watch his progress through the day now as we are ready to go racing. It's a McLaren front row lockout. Jackson, Leclerc, lights out. We're racing. It's a poor start for Calimere, and now we're going to become immediately the first car on hard compound tires, but hold on. Drugovich, a great start, lunges one around the outside. Now we continue side by side as Jackson is clear of Leclerc, and Drugovich sends it into turn 2, gets the job done. Unexpected there. I did not expect him to sail it off into that corner and clear me, so we drop back down to 4th place. Lando Norris settling in behind George Russell right there. Alex Albon just in front, trying to put some pressure on Calimere. Now, as you can see in the background, there's Oliver Behrman just in front of Marino Sato behind Pierre Gasly, of course, in that Mercedes, and then he's just behind the two Honda Sports there of Doohan, as well as Jamie Chadwick. Mick Schumacher rounding out the back of the grid on this opening lap. Everybody gets through without any issues. We continue on now in this 4th position, so an okay start here. Now 26 laps of racing. The big question is this tire that Bridgestone has brought. It's opened the door for one-stop strategies and a two-stop strategy today. So what is going to be the optimal strategy, and what is everybody going to do? Are we going to see everybody do the same thing, or are we going to see some separation in strategies? Now, we'll have to kind of wait and see, but Mark at least had an update on my teammate.
Just a heads up, Felipe will be doing a one-stop strategy here.
And you hear it there, Drugovich doing a one-stop, and he's on the same compounded tire as me, so that's showcasing already. We are going to see some different strategies, even on different compounds, or on the same compounds, I should say, now, as you saw an overtake done right there. So, now settling in front of Calimere, 0.6 of a second behind us here, as we are trying to just focus in on kind of the teamwork aspect right now. The McLarens are absolutely flying. They're nearly 3 seconds ahead on a softer compound tire compared to our hard, so it's expected they're going to be, you know, a bit faster than us right now, but I was trying to avoid battling Drugovich at this point in time, just to save us time. You know, make sure we can stay within reach of these McLarens and not cost ourselves time that's going to hurt us in the long run. There is a chance Baku, although it's got a history of being crazy, we've seen red flags here in this career mode, safety cars of course, there is still potential that this goes green the whole way, and of course if we get fighting, it would really hurt us in the long run. So if we're going to make a pass, we want to do it right and avoid any really form of battle into an apex now, to try to clear them before we actually hit the corner. So we were continuing to put some pressure on Drugovich, but not quite enough yet here. As you can see, that's George Russell going around Jamie Chadwick, moving into P9. I got my Mercedes mixed up earlier. Gasly was the one further up, not George Russell at the start of that Grand Prix, as we continue to put some pressure on Drugovich, and you can see right now he's starting to really struggle compared to at least myself. He might be conserving those hards as well, knowing he's going for a one-stop stop, so he's going to take those hards significantly longer than I'm going to be taking mine. And here we go for an overtake on Drugovich, our Brazilian teammate. 3 wins under his belt here in his Formula 1 career, and into turn 1, we will clear him for that 3rd position. Now 4.2 seconds to Leclerc, 5.5 to Jackson. Now Drugovich is going to fight back up the inside into turn number 2, nearly run into us there, as now we continue out ahead. Can someone tell me the point of that?
Don't worry, just focus in here.
So we continue on, and yeah, I don't know why Drugovich decided to try and lunge one back up the inside into turn 2, a pretty pointless move that, I mean, only cost us a little bit of time, but just unnecessary. But we focus in on moving forward, and we had opened up the gap to a full second to Felipe Drugovich, and more than that now, 1.1, now it's back to 1.0, but you can see the gap to the cars ahead. Those mediums are going to fall off, and the question is, how long are they going to drag those mediums out for here? As update on Yuri Vips, lap 7, only running 15th place right now, not very good. Oliver Behrman's been moving forward slowly. He's up into P11, so nearly into the points there for the Trackhouse rookie. As we continue now to lap 8, you can see the gap to Leclerc, 5 seconds flat, 5.6 there to Aiden Jackson, as those two really can't get away from each other. They're working well together as we approach the end of lap number 8 here. Now we're already approaching our pit window, which opens here in another lap. At the end of lap 9, we are going to be pitting, and now Charles Leclerc is going to be the first one to come in. Leclerc is going to box now. He's going to put the mediums back on, actually. So he goes from mediums to mediums, and here comes Albon. Anybody that's pitting in this time frame is a 2-stop strategy. As you can see now, everyone is on those mediums, putting on another set, and so we're going to be pitting off these hards and going on to mediums. So that means that those guys that just pitted, they're probably going to be, or they will be, putting hards on at the next pit stop. So we are going to have mediums while they'll have hards for the second and final stop, but we also have cars doing 1-stop strategies. Aiden Jackson, I think, might be aiming for a 1-stop because he was not pitting at the end of lap 9. If he was going to do a 2-stop, he was going to pit right there, so I think he's going to try a 1-stop. We come in ourselves into the pit box. Drugovich going, of course, at least 1 lap longer, but it looks like we're the only one right here that's going to box on this lap. So we get a new set now of medium tire rubber on this car, and we're going to be running mediums to the end of this race, but 2 sets, of course. Now this is our first of 2 pit stops now, as we're going to commit to this 2-stop strategy. We'll come out just in front of Alex Albon. Leclerc 6.5 seconds up the road. Albon's right on our rear wing. Yellow flags in the background, and it's actually Zane Maloney in the Williams Audi who's got a mechanical failure. He's going to be out of this Grand Prix. Albon's going to pass us there down the straightaway. I'm not too concerned about that, but Zane Maloney moving very slowly. It's going to be day over for the Williams rookie now, as we just take this lap to warm up the tires and get ready to pounce back on Alex Albon at this point now. So everybody that's done or is committing to a 2-stop strategy has made their pit stop. Anybody that's still on the track is doing a 1-stop. Aiden Jackson on the mediums is committing to a 1-stop. Drugovich on the hards committing to a 1-stop. Calimer as well. Pierre Gasly behind us is on a 2-stop in that Mercedes, but George Russell has stayed out. He's on the 1-stop. Jack Doohan on the 1-stop. Behrman, etc. I think Jackson might be the only one on the mediums to start this Grand Prix to try and really stretch it to get a 1-stop strategy now, but he of course will be going on to the hard. So Jackson's pace is going to be really far off compared to what I'm able to do, but the problem is we're coming up on these cars that are committing to a 1-stop, and they're clearly slower, obviously, and I was getting stuck behind them. You can't make a move into the castle section unless you're just an idiot. I know, like, some YouTubers would make a move right there and just, I mean, door-doing into a barrier and think that's fun to watch, but personally, I don't get any enjoyment, even though it's a video game. I don't enjoy just driving like a moron. So we get the elbows out, and we will do what we got to do, but we try to keep it legitimate and semi-realistic. And yeah, I mean, to me, wheel-to-wheel racing is fun, not just shoving cars into the barrier and making silly dive bombs in silly places. So we continue on into P7, actually scraping the tire barrier. Fortunately, we don't damage the car. Got away with one right there, but look at the pace. We're absolutely flying, and so is Charles Leclerc. He's on the limit right now, and we are gaining heaps of time on everybody in front of us, but for this stop strategy to really work, obviously we got to go really hard on this set of mediums and really hard on the second set and gain as much time as we can on this specific run right here, because it all depends on, say, Dragovic. We need to try and run him down, because that's almost like the delta that we need to pay attention to, as Oliver Behrman is now actually going to fight back with the DRS. He's going to breeze back past here into turn number 1, an aggressive move because Aiden Jackson has pitted and is coming out of the pits now, and I wanted to make sure we were ahead of him, so we went around the outside and we get back through. Aiden Jackson quickly would get past Behrman as well, but now we're stuck behind George Russell, another one committed to this one-stop strategy here. Eventually we're going to get up the inside here, but Jackson now half a second back, so Jackson going to the end of this Grand Prix on the hard compound tire. We still have to make a pit stop again in a few laps time at lap 17, lap 18 area. Dragovic still on the racetrack. Leclerc has already run him down, and he's still on the track as we start lap 14, so he is going to be way far behind, but on brand new fresh hard tire rubber here, as now we would pass Calimere on the run down towards turn number 3. Unfortunately, Jackson had got caught up behind some traffic, specifically George Russell, so we were now able to open up the gap, and he was going to get stuck behind Calimere through the second sector that we were coming up on here. Now Dragovic into the pits at the end of the lap. Leclerc had gotten past him, but now he's going to drop down a handful of positions, and there was contact there between Calimere and Jackson, who would pass her into turn number 1, but Jackson goes into P3, but he currently is the net leader. The question is, those hards, they're taking those hards, 12, 13 laps. How hard is his hard compound tire going to fall off towards the end of this race? While myself and Leclerc specifically, I think, are the ones to watch on the two-stop strategy. We're going to be flying on a new set of mediums here as we come through to lap number 15. 5 seconds to Charles Leclerc now, but we're going to go through the grid with 10 laps to go starting lap 17.
We're really seeing this tyre produce an interesting strategy today, Martin. Many drivers sticking to the safe one-stop strategy, but several are aiming for the two-stop strategy.
This is exactly what Bridgestone have been aiming for. This is what we've all wanted to see for a long time coming. I love it. Great work, Bridgestone. However, the big question is, will the two-stop strategy actually work?
I think it can for Leclerc and Owen, but it will be hard for others beyond them. How about Lando Norris? He had few successes with Mercedes, getting a win here and there, but he has really shined this year with his new team in Lamborghini.
He still has it, that's for sure. And how about Calimere? A very consistent season for her so far. We questioned if she was capable of doing well in a top team after her struggles with the races she did for Ferrari last year. But this is the best she has ever looked on track. Consistency every week so far.
Yuri Vips has made his pit stop and is down in 19th. A lot of work to do if he wants points here today.
And there you have through the grid. Yuri Vips continues to struggle here now. Strategy is not working out for him. He cannot seem to find track position. Nothing's working. Now Leclerc, he's coming into the pits at the end of lap 17, so we're going to follow him. We're going to do exactly what he does, but what I'm learning immediately about this two-stop strategy as Aiden Jackson's going to go to the lead is that if you're on a two-stop, it's all about maximizing, of course, getting through the traffic as quick as possible. So we're definitely learning that today, and we're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive next time, although I felt like I was aggressive as I could be without overstepping the boundaries and putting ourselves in a silly position. But Dragovic actually has a mechanical issue. I was alerted by that. If you read the text on the bottom of the screen during the pit stop, Mark mentions Dragovic has a mechanical problem, so he is going to be fading backwards here. Battles were continuing to happen on the circuit. This is Marino Santo, Oliver Behrman, Jack Doohan as well, all three of them going for it here on the run down towards turn number 1, and Doohan might get a 2-for-1 special into the first corner. He is 2-for-1. Doohan up into P11 and maybe P10 as Gasly right there in front of him. He can't quite get ahead. And Gasly, of course, is that one who just pitted there on the two-stop strategy as well, so they're going to have more pace in the cars they just came out in front of, and they're going to slowly drive away. Now, Dragovic, of course, on that one stop, but it doesn't matter. Now he is really, really slow due to the mechanical issue. So now Leclerc has already gotten past him, and now I am closing in in next on Felipe, but Leclerc's 3.4 seconds up the road. But look on the track map. Look how far out Aiden Jackson is ahead, and we'll have 7 laps to go when we get back to the start-finish line. The odds of us running down Aiden Jackson are basically impossible as we now have that DRS open here, so it does look like the one-stop strategy. It might still be the way to go here. Now we'll swing to the right side of Drugovich here. We should be able to clear him. He continues to drop down the order into 4th. He will probably drop down to 6th or 7th before this Grand Prix is over, unless they find a quick way to fix his car. Fortunately, we're having no mechanical issues, but that's the first bit of mechanical problem we have had with Audi so far. Fortunately, it's not for me. 12 seconds to Aiden Jackson. Now we're on, of course, a softer compound tire, a fresher compound tire, so we're going to gain time no matter what. And Leclerc is 2.8 seconds ahead. The gap to Leclerc was slowly coming down, but look at the gap to Aiden Jackson. It's now gone into the single digits. It's down to 9 seconds. We are quickly reeling him in, and Leclerc we're very slowly reeling in, but overall he's keeping the gap relatively the same over the course of a lap. You can see towards the end of the lap still 2.5 seconds, but 9 seconds to Aiden Jackson now as we complete the lap. And we have a yellow at the start of the run towards the front straightaway. That's Gasly, who's gone around in front of Jack Doohan, that is, in the Connor Sport, and he is just parked there. Here comes now Jamie Chadwick. Oh no! Gasly backs up across the track in front of Chadwick, and he has just single-handedly ruined the day for the whole Connor Sport team. Yuri Vips is going to slip through and go into P11. He loops it all on his own. My goodness, Pierre Gasly. We continue on, no safety car or anything, and look at the gap now to Aiden Jackson, 7.5, 7.4. The gap is dramatically decreasing.
Jackson's tyres are falling off here. Push hard, we can still get him.
And you hear Mark right there saying, we can still get him. I didn't believe it a few laps ago, but now I do. Leclerc, keep in mind, is on hards. He, of course, went on the start at mediums and then went on to another set of mediums and is now finishing the race on hards. So we just still don't quite have enough pace for him. He's kept the gap between 2 to 2.5 seconds this whole time, but Aiden Jackson's continuing to drop 4.8 seconds, and we're coming to 3 laps to go this time around. And you can see Russell into 4th, Mayer into 5th, and Drugovich down to P6 as they continue to struggle to fix his mechanical issue now. But it's game on to Aiden Jackson. We might not have a chance to win, but second place for sure is on the table now. 4 seconds, and now it's proving the 2-stop strategy finally in this game is proving to be superior over a 1-stop. It just took a mod to make it happen, of course, and create more tire wear and grip loss and whatnot, because now here we go. Leclerc's to the back of Aiden Jackson as we approach the end of the lap, coming to 2 laps to go, and this McLaren teammate duo, of course, Jackson really didn't have to deal with Alex Albon a lot last season with the fall off of him, but now he has got a new contender in town, and Charles Leclerc to the left side is going to go through and take the lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here from Baku City. New leader Leclerc with 2 laps to go. Aiden Jackson has been dominant all day, but it appears the one-stop strategy was the wrong way to go. Now, can we run down Aiden Jackson ourselves with 2 laps remaining? The gap 1.8, 1.6, 1.5, and it was down to 1.2, 1.1. We're going to be within DRS here in just a few seconds, and now here we are. Now we are going to have to be patient. Now we're to the back of Aiden Jackson now through the castle section. 2 seconds to Leclerc. Look at the run we get. We got to take it. We have just so much more grip. We'll go to the left side. We'll go wheel to wheel. We had some recent tension with Aiden Jackson in France. I am not going to hesitate to get the elbows out on him on the run down towards the left-hander, side by side, and we door him into the barrier now. We continue on. No damage done to either party, so we continue on. In my opinion, that was about as clean as we could have done it against the guy that wrecked us a few races ago. And you'll see a look on the onboard here of Jackson. I mean, I didn't make it easy for him. I went down into the corner. I said, you're not wasting my time. And yeah, sure enough, I put him in a really awkward position. He avoids damage, and we continue on this final lap of this Grand Prix. Leclerc 2.6 seconds up the road. I'm quite simply not going to be able to get him. On this final lap specifically, I started to really lose some grip, and you're going to see it's replicated in the time. 2.93 seconds a gap now, but we're still driving away from Aiden Jackson. Callie Mayer, again, she has been so consistent, in my opinion. the third most consistent driver since she's gone to Trackhouse this season, behind myself and Charles Leclerc, maybe Aiden Jackson as well, as Leclerc wins here in Baku, his second win of the season, their first driver to win multiple races here in this final season of the career mode. Another great finish for us, 2 pair of thirds and 2 pair now of seconds. Maybe we can start a trend of going 2 pairs of wins. Yuri Vips, driver of the day here in Baku.
And so ends another Azerbaijan Grand Prix. A fascinating race and a well-deserved victory.
We learned a lot today about this new Bridgestone tire, and I think Bridgestone is not going to bother bringing that Race 1 tire anymore. I think they're going to stick with what we saw today because it really excelled. Some races, the 1 stop's the way to go. Some races is the 2 stop, but we're not really seeing much of a soft compound tire being used with this new kind of tire experiment, which is interesting. I'm not sure if that's going to change or not as time goes, but that's obviously something I have noticed. The softs just kind of almost seem pointless other than qualifying, of course, here. But the big thing that we learned today is this 2-stop can work, and it worked for both myself and Leclerc very well. But we also learned if you're going to commit to the 2-stop, traffic management is, I mean, the utmost importance thing, and that's where Leclerc got us today. Of course, he was able to open up the gap on that early run, so I would say maybe it would be smarter to start on a softer compound and then go to the harder compound as the race goes on, like we saw Leclerc do, so we can of course build up a better gap early in the run, because obviously it's that first pit stop when you exit out of that where you're going to be dealing with the most traffic for the race, so you want to of course build up as much of a gap as you can in that first run to said traffic. Callie Mayer gets the fastest lap point with a 140.1 as you see the rest of the finishing order. Zane Maloney, the only driver out there, unfortunate for the Williams Audi rookie. Let's take a look at the standings. Yuri Vips did rebound to 1 point on the board. Oliver Behrman in the points as well. A nice rebound for him. 3 drivers separated by 5 points, with Dragovic back by 25, but Leclerc to the lead here in the championship. In the constructors, McLaren makes some gains over us. We're 25 back there as everybody else is just way back already. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.